Hey guys, it's Alexandra from Cre8tioncrochet.com. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make my Brett Haylee scarf. This is an easy ribbed scarf pattern. It features simple half double crochet stitches that are worked into the back loop only to create this ribbed fabric here that you see. This scarf comes in 4 sizes: toddler, child, adult small, and adult large. I've used Red Heart Super Saver for my scarf. This is the color charcoal, which is a dark gray, but you can use your favorite worsted weight yarn. This easy scarf pattern is beginner friendly. It is a great project to just sit and work. You don't have to think about counting really, because you can just measure as you go and stop when you get to the size that you're looking for. To go with this Red Heart Super Saver, I am using an H8 5mm crochet hook. This is my ergonomic hook that I got from Sienna's Boutique on Etsy. It is made out of clay, feels great in my hands, helps so I don't get pain in my hands anymore. It is a little bit of weight to it that takes some getting used to. It's beautiful, it is great quality, it is affordable. There are so many nice designs in the shop that you can order. I have ordered a couple. It does take about 4 weeks before it arrives at your doorstep, but I like that I can send a custom message to have the clay start where is most comfortable for me. I do tend to push my loops up a little bit far on my hook, so I'm able to ask her to have the clay start at a certain point so it's still comfortable for me to work. Colleen is a pleasure, so I will go ahead and link this in the description box below if you'd like to treat yourself. Anyways, you're just going to need an H8 5mm crochet hook for this project. Gauge is not essential for this unless the finished size is, so if you want to get the exact measurements that I have provided, then you're going to want to take your gauge. If you don't care if it comes out a little bit smaller or a little bit larger, then go ahead and just start working. You're going to find the free crochet pattern for this linked in the description box below. I am going to be working a sample in this video. I've already finished my scarf, so my sample is going to start with a chain 10. I will provide a chart for you that shows how many chains you'll need depending on the size that you're going to work. For gauge, you're going to want to work at least 5 or 6 rows up before you take your width measurement. For this project, you don't need to work a specific sample to take your gauge. You can just start working your scarf pattern and just measure after 5 or 6 rows to see if your width measurement adds up to mine. If the gauge is essential to you and you're measuring smaller, then you're going to want to go up a crochet hook size and rework the sample. And if you're measuring larger, then you're going to want to go down a crochet hook size and then rework your sample. Then you can measure in pattern the row count, and I'll provide the gauge in the description box below. But the easiest way to work this scarf up is just to work and measure as you go. When you reach the size that you're looking for, then you can go ahead and stop. Let's go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to do is start with a slip knot. So I've pulled the working yarn over my hand here, wrap it around my index finger 2 times, hold tension with my thumb and my middle finger, take the loop on the left, pull it up over the other one but not off my finger, then I'll take the loop on the left, now pull it up over the other loop and off my finger, take my crochet hook, insert it into the loop on my finger and pull it off. Then I'll hold the working yarn in my right hand and pull the short tail end in my left. It'll tighten this knot up to normal tension. I'll put up a chart showing how many chains you'll want to have depending on the size that you're working. To chain, we yarn over and pull through the loop that's on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the loop that's on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the loop that's on our hook. This gives us 3 chains I'm going to continue working until I have all my chains. Alrighty, now I have 10 chains complete. Each one of these V shapes here is a chain. I want to half double crochet into the second chain from the hook. We don't count the loop that's on our hook. Here's the first chain and here's the second chain. I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook right into the center of that chain, yarn over and pull through. I have 3 loops on my hook right now. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. We just half double crocheted into the second chain from the hook. Now we're going to continue to half double crochet into each stitch all the way across the chain. Yarn over, insert your hook into the center of the next chain, yarn over, pull through. There are 3 loops on my hook. Yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Yarn over, insert your hook into the center of the next chain, yarn over, pull through. 3 loops on my hook. Yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. And I'll continue half double crocheting all the way across here. And there's row 1 complete. We now have 1 stitch less than what we chained. I chained 10, so I have 9 half double crochets here. Let me pull up a loop here really quick. To count your stitches, you're going to look to the V shapes at the top. Each one of these is a stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Let's go ahead and continue into round 2. Round 2 and all the remaining rounds are going to be worked exactly the same. We're going to start with a chain 1 and turn. We're always going to begin and end with our stitches worked into the entire stitch. All the stitches in the middle are going to be worked into the back loop only. So let's start with a half double crochet worked into this very first stitch. Yarn over, insert your hook into that stitch, picking up both loops on your hook, then yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Now, working in the back loop only. When you look at the top of your stitches, there is a leg on the bottom. This is going to be the front loop. Then there's a leg on the back side. That's going to be the back loop. I want to insert my hook right into the center of that V shape and push it towards the back, towards the wrong side of my fabric. So it doesn't come out on the right side or the front, it comes out on the back side. And it has that back loop on my crochet hook. Now we're going to do that with half double crochet. So yarn over, insert your hook into the center of that stitch, pushing towards the back or wrong side of your work, and picking up that loop on your hook. Then yarn over, pull through, 3 loops as normal, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Yarn over, insert your hook into the top center of that V shape, push it towards the back of the fabric, the wrong side, picking up just that back loop on your hook. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Looking at the top side, yarn over, insert your hook into the top center of that V shape, pushing your hook towards the back side or the wrong side of the fabric, picking up just that back loop on your hook. And then complete your half double crochet. And you're going to continue working all the way across your row until you have just one stitch left. And now I have just one stitch left here. I'm going to work this into both loops of that V shape. So yarn over, insert my hook into the stitch, picking up both loops of that V shape, yarn over, pull through, and complete my half double crochet. And we're going to work into both loops of the V shape for the very first stitch and the very last stitch every single time, and that's going to help us get a clean straight edge on the sides. And now row 2 is finished. Let's work row 3 together, and then I'll put up a chart for you. Start with a chain 1 and turn. Half double crochet into the very first stitch, picking up both loops of that V shape. Then half double crochet into the back loop only of each stitch all the way across until you get to the very last stitch of the row. Now I have just one stitch left here. I'm going to yarn over, insert into the stitch picking up both loops of that V shape, and complete my half double crochet. Pull up a big loop here, and now you can see the pattern start forming where it has this ridge. This ridge is created by working into the back loop only and leaving that front loop unworked, so that's the front loop that we see. And as you rotate your fabric back and forth, you're going to see the ridges are very defined. And I just love this texture and this look. And it makes it really easy for counting your rows. You can see row 1, row 2, and row 3. As you work, you're going to want to keep a looser tension when you chain 1 and turn and work your first half double crochet and your last half double crochet, because these stitches are going to be smaller than the stitches that are worked in the back loop only, because they're going down further than the half double crochets that are worked here in the back loop only. So this looser tension will help keep the rows even. If you find that your beginning and end are scrunching down, then one easy way that you can fix that is by working an extended half double crochet here in the very first stitch and the last stitch, so that your stitch is a little bit taller and then it'll be even. So I'll show you that just in case you need it. You'll yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch as normal, yarn over and pull through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 1 loop only. You'll have 3 loops on your hook again, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And this just gives you a taller half double crochet stitch. Then continue in pattern, working in the back loop only all the way across the row. And here in the last stitch, yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, picking up both loops, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 1 loop only, 3 loops on your hook still, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. I think I get a cleaner edge if I just work a regular half double crochet into these stitches, so I just try to keep a loose tension. But this is an alternative option for you. If you run out of yarn in the middle of your project and you need to attach another ball, Then you'll want to work up to a short tail end that you can still comfortably weave in. We're going to change to the new ball in the last yarn over of the stitch. So we're going to start working a half double crochet, yarn over, insert our hook into the stitch as normal, yarn over, pull through. There are 3 loops on my hook, and this is the last part of the stitch. The next step is yarn over and pull through. So I'm going to put this down for a moment, grab my new ball, form a loop here by the end with a tail end long enough I can comfortably weave in. Put this loop on my crochet hook. This is going to count as the last yarn over, and then I'll pull through with this new strand, and that will complete my half double crochet, and I'll have just joined a new ball. Now, because we're turning after each row, any side can be the right side or the wrong side. I am going to just drop my tail ends to the back for now. I have the new strand in my working hand here. Pull on the tail end from the original ball, just so that this last stitch that we just worked looks uniform to the rest of them. And then I'll continue working half double crochets all the way across. I will put up a chart now showing how many rows you should have depending on the size that you're working. When we come back, I'll show you how to weave in your ends, and then your scarf will be ready to wear. I've just finished my last row here, and I pulled up the loop just so I wouldn't lose it. You can lay your scarf out and measure to make sure that it's the height that you're looking for. Then come over here to the side and fasten off, leaving a tail end long enough to comfortably weave in. Use your crochet hook to pull up on that loop to break it so it comes all the way out. And now we're ready to weave in our ends. So I'm going to show you a couple of them. There's a couple different types. The last one here and the first one look the same, where they come out the top of the work. I'm going to thread this into my tapestry needle. And I like to make the first and the last look like the V shape that you see here on the side. So I've just tightened it down so that it looks even with the rest. I'm going to insert my tapestry needle here from the front side to the back, inserting into the top of the next row right here where the hole is on the side edge, and pull through. Before I pull all the way, I'm going to use my fingers to make the stitch flat and tall like the rest of the stitches, and then just gently pull. I don't want to distort this stitch right here. And I want this leg here to be even with the size of the legs here if you look a couple rows down. So you just want to mimic that length. Once you're happy with it, then take your needle, insert it into the top center of that very last V-shaped stitch that you made, the V from the last half double crochet. Insert it from the top down the center directly to the back side and pull through. And this will create the second leg of that V shape. And then just use your fingers to manipulate the fabric. And now I'm going to weave it in. I like to weave in vertically here so as not to prohibit any stretch widthwise. It's a little bit easier to hide it in the bulkiness going vertically. And I'm going to keep it here as close to the side edge as possible. When I weave in my ends, I do not pick up the whole entire stitch on my needle. I insert my needle into the center of the stitch, breaking it in half, and that's going to help capture my yarn better. I do this when I insert into a stitch and when I exit from a stitch. I also do 3 passes. That's my magic number. If you feel comfortable after 2, go ahead and fasten off. If you feel like you need a 4th one, go ahead and do it. It's whatever you feel the most secured with your project. So I'm going to insert into a nearby stitch, breaking it in half, and run my needle down through several stitches, breaking the last stitch in half as I exit. And then I like to go back to my work, make sure that my stitches look normal, like they're not being pulled too hard. If they are, I use my fingers to manipulate the fabric. And in this case, my stitches are good. So then I'll insert into a nearby stitch, breaking it in half, and run it back down through several of those stitches I just worked. And when I exit, break that stitch in half as well. Pull on it, use my fingers to manipulate the fabric so that it lays naturally. And then last pass here, insert into a stitch, breaking it in half, run it back through several of those stitches here on the side, and when I exit, I'll break my last stitch in half as well. Pull on it, use my fingers to manipulate the fabric if I need to, and then I'm ready to go ahead and fasten this side off. So I'll use the same technique when I do the end that I started with. The other type of end you're going to see is here in the middle if you've had to join another ball. So to get started, I'll just thread one of these into my tapestry needle. And again, I'm going to work vertically for this, not horizontally. Horizontally creates a bunching and an extra bulkiness there in the middle, and it prohibits the stretch widthwise. So I'm going to work up vertically into the stitches. And I'm going to do the same process, 3 passes, breaking my stitch in half when I enter and when I exit. So I'm just going to insert into a nearby stitch here and run up through several stitches. Alright, I'll follow the same process for this one, working downward there. And I did choose a wrong side for my work, that is the back side of the scarf. Because we turned as we worked the scarf, then either side could be the right side or the wrong side because they look the same. I just picked when I had to add a new ball of yarn, then that I just dropped my yarn to the back, and that was already going to be the wrong side. So my ends are going to be woven in on that wrong side. It doesn't matter which side you pick, I would just keep it consistent so that all your ends are on one side so that you don't see the woven in part on both sides. And that's it. Weave in all the ends and then the scarf is ready to go. Guys, thanks so much for watching my video. You'll find the free crochet pattern for it linked in the description box below. Please smash that like button and hit subscribe. and I'll catch you in the next one.